Child, applying for a job. Now, I know with this dwindling economy, a lot of us have suffered a few setbacks, job layoffs and, companies folding and, being in between jobs and everything like that. People just getting out of school, not being able to find jobs. And I understand it's affected us all in some kind of way. Um, but there are a few businesses now with openings, especially during seasonal times. They need extra help, so that's always a good way to get some money until you can find a job that's a little more stable. However, as much as it pains me to say this, my natural women, I love my hair. Like I said, I've been doing this off and on since I was a teenager. Wearing my natural hair, then I cut it and permed it and colored it and a number of other things. But I love, love, love my natural hair. I just don't see me perming it anytime soon, putting a relaxer in it. No time soon. So, as much as I'm like, all for it, honey, child, you can't wear your natural hair to a job interview unless you're applying for some militant, pro-black, Afrocentric centered company or organization. It's not a good look. And that's not to say something insulting about natural hair, because clearly, you know. But at the same time, it's a distraction. You go to apply for a job, or you're going on a job interview after you've already applied for the job, and you're there before your, hiring manager, human resources executive, whatever, and they're looking at the hair. I guarantee it. No matter how simple it may be to you, because to me this is really simple, but I'm apprehensive about even wearing this style, even though it's a curly style, to a job interview. I have wigs for that. Why? Like I said, they're not going to focus on what you're saying here as opposed to what's going on up here. No adornments, no headbands, no throw outs, nothing. Keep it simple, pulled back, something sleek, a bun, a low ponytail, a mid ponytail, always works. Or maybe some very loose body wave type curls. It's unfortunate to say that, but it's just the nature of things. They see your hair and it's sort of, it'll deter away from everything that you could possibly offer them. It could be looked at as, oh, it's interesting, it's unique, and then they fail to really get the gist of you, which doesn't help you get a job if they sit back and only thing they can remember is your hair. You know what I'm saying? And at the same time, they could see it as, for instance, I've applied to a few jobs as, administrative assistant. They're not going to really want someone all froed out or possibly froed out, because you may not show up froed out. It may be braided or corn. Well, I know you wouldn't go cornrow, but it could be braided or like this, and they anticipate one of those days during the week that this will turn into this, okay? They're not going to want that as a representation of their office. I hate to say it, but that's just the way it is. Even if you're going to apply for a company of predominantly black people, they're going to want their office to be represented a certain way. They're going to want their company to be represented a certain way. If you're applying to a job where you're going to be around people, customers, seeing people and clients, if you show up with natural hair, that's what they're going to think about. They're going to think about an afro. Even though you may never, ever wear your hair as an afro, that's what they're going to consider. So, until you actually get the job, wear a wig to your interview. Something simple, something neat, and honestly, the only word I can think of is conforming. Yeah, it's ugly, right? But you have to conform in this society if you want to get ahead. You're looking for a job, you need a job, you have the opportunity to interview for a job. Like for me, it's like once I get to the interview, I can get the job. And I know a lot of other people are the same way. Once you can get to the interview, you can get the job. But you have to be a representation of not just yourself, but the company's missions and goals. And conforming to the style that they're accustomed to is the best way to seem like a possible employee or new addition to their team. That's it. That's just it. Now, if you're going in for a job like Target or Walmart or Kmart or Macy's or something like that, you may not have to worry about it. Individual style is not an issue for companies like that. They normally don't discriminate when it comes to overall outside appearance because you're mixing and mingling with a number of different cultures and people and styles, and everything's pretty unique anyway. But office work, a business company, something where you may have to wear a uniform or slacks or something like that too. Yeah, you're gonna wanna conform. Sorry, but I say this because I love you and I want you to succeed. So take it all into account, and I'll see you later. Love you. Mwah. Bye.